guys took an interest inventory. Y'all remember that?
Yes.
And then you picked your top 3 jobs. Okay? Your top 3 careers. I need to stop saying jobs. It's really careers that you're looking at. The difference between a job and a career is that a career is something that you do long term and you can show growth in the career, whereas a job is something that, yes, people can retire from jobs, but jobs are a lot of times something that is not a long-term thing that you do. Who can give an example of maybe a job versus a career? Alfredo?
Garbage can. This is dumb.
Versus a doctor? Actually, working at like recycling centers and our trash centers, that actually can be a long-term job, and you can move up in that field. But what would be like a job? Think about what would you do when you're like 16 and 17 years old, you're in high school, and you want to go get a job because you want to make money. Evelyn? I'm sorry, I can't hear Evelyn.
You copied my thing.
Thank you. Evelyn, what did you say? A waiter, yes. Waiters actually work for less than minimum wage most of the time, and they actually get paid through their tips. But could you imagine being a waiter for 30 years?
No.
That's a long time, but there's people who do it. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but do you truly think that you may be happy in a job like that?
No.
A job that keeps you where you just do the same thing for 30 years. Now, of course, some people, unfortunately, their circumstances don't allow them to be able to move into a different job. And those circumstances could be maybe your family, right? Maybe you weren't able to go to school, or you missed your opportunity. And so you're not able to go and get a better job. That's why I think this doing our career exploration, I think this is so important. Because you could easily miss your opportunity to make your life better. And once you miss that opportunity and it never comes back, you're stuck with whatever it is that you're doing.
That's bad.
And that unfortunately happens to Americans every single day. There's people that end up in jobs until the day that they perish off this earth, and it's not because they wanted to be in that job, but it's because they kind of had no choice. So today, when you're exploring your jobs, I really want you to think about or pay attention to the information it gives you, because some of the information can kind of give you a head start of what you need to do and what you can do right now. My cousin is in physical therapy school. She is 21. She graduated with her bachelor's at 20 years old. And I truly believe that she didn't know exactly that she wanted to go into physical therapy, but I do think she knew she wanted to do the medical field. So she started doing stuff as early as middle school. When she applied to college, and she went to Ohio State University, when she applied to go to her undergrad, her resume was amazing. First of all, she had a resume. And I remember reading it, and I was like, oh my gosh, you did stuff in middle school? And she was like, well, yeah. I knew I wanted to go into the medical field, so whenever there was volunteer opportunities, I would go and volunteer at a local clinic. And I mean, she wasn't able to do a whole lot. She was in middle school. But isn't that where y'all are going to next?
Yes. No.
Yes.
Wait, what?
Aren't you going to middle school?
Oh, I am.
Yes. So that means that you could start making decisions as early as next year. And guess what Fort Worth ISD has that not every district has, Chamuchi? Fort Worth ISD has a program. It's called the Gold Seal program. And it's basically that they have middle schools and high schools that you all can apply to, and they're specially designed for a specific interest. For example, I had a student last year, and she was really good at art. Like, she was really good at art. Really good at art. She now goes to a middle school that specializes in fine arts, including the art that she's interested in. So, And that's something we'll start to look at, I think around Christmas time, you guys will get the applications, and you can apply to go to different schools that can actually prepare you for your future. Now, I didn't have that option. I wish I could have went to a school that specialized in what I was interested in. So I really want you to take time with this activity, okay? You can discuss it with your peers that you're sitting with. You can ask me questions, but I'm gonna show you what you're wanting to look for, and then I'm gonna let you just do the exploration. And that's the exploring. Okay, so let's look up here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit the explore careers. It's a drop down, and you're just gonna hit that. Okay, it's gonna bring you to this page.
Where are you gonna put it?
Explore careers at the top.
And then which one? You're gonna put careers?
No, you're clicking it. So just click the top. It drops down, but I want you to click the tab. Did you click it, Carlos? Okay. Then I'm gonna show you how this works, okay? And how you're supposed to use this tool. Okay, so who can give me an example? Give me something that you're interested in that you would like to learn about. Yes, sir.
Football.
Okay, football? Okay, let's do it. Football. So I'm just gonna literally type, you may not know the career that you are interested in, but if you put an interest in the search bar, it's gonna pull up all the professions that fall under that interest. So I'm gonna just put football. Is this? What is wrong with you? Okay, so I typed in football, and these are the careers that popped up. Athletes and sport competitors, coaches and scouts, recycling and reclamation workers. So see, I don't really know what that's about, so that might be something that I would look into, Tavion. So I'm gonna click the top one though. Let's just click athletes and sport competitors. So what happens is once you click on the career, it's gonna show you a page that talks about that particular career. So this one says it's also known as a golf professional, baseball pitcher, hockey player, basketball, race car driver, baseball player, professional golf. All these different names could tie into what we just looked up. Okay? Now, is this touch screen? So now, what I want you to pay attention to are a couple of areas. First, projected employment. The projected employment tells you how many people were employed in 2016 out of the entire United States. Okay? Then it tells you where they expected to go. So they have the 2026 employment, and it will tell you what they're expecting, how many people they're expecting to be in that job. Okay? Then it tells you what type of education and experience you may need. Programs like in college that can prepare you for whatever career that you're looking at. But this is the one that I like. I really like this one. Typical education. So just look at that for a second and tell me, what do you notice about the typical education? What could you tell me about that? I see a bar graph, but what is it telling me, Katie? Okay, what do you mean by that? Okay, are you talking about, so you're right, the bar graph is changing, so you have like 2%, 19%, 41%, but what does this say?
Bachelor's degree.
Okay, what does that say? Master's, and what does that say?
Professional degree.
Okay, so what does this tell you? Now that you've read that, I see associates from college, no degree, high school diploma or equivalent, less than a high school diploma. What do you notice from this? What could you say, what kind of information could you pull from this chart?
The bar graph shows how
wanna hear from this side of the room, cause I see this side is really engaged, but this side is not so engaged. What do you think some college no degree means? Yes.
They just got in by
Got into what, college? Or what do you mean? Into the occupation? Okay, he said that these people must have gotten the job because they had a lot of talent. But what does that particular title tell us? Yes, sir.
It's saying that they were in college for a little bit, but then they dropped out.
Yes. They went to college for a little bit and then they didn't finish. That's what some college no degree means, okay? That may show up when you're searching your career, okay? And that might be good information to know too, because I've looked up some careers and I'm thinking, dang, you must have to have a master's degree for this. And I go, and most people in the job field, they didn't even finish college. It just depends, okay? And then also over here on this side, I mean, you guys can read it, but it will tell you, do you need a certification? Like for a teacher, you can't just go to college and graduate. You have to get certified. That's a whole extra step you gotta do. To be a guidance counselor, what I'm trying to be right now, a school counselor, I have to get a certification for that. Okay? And it will tell you that on this side. Now, if we have time, I'm gonna give you about 10 minutes. At the end of the 10 minutes, I want some of you to share out what you've learned about a career, okay? So I'm gonna let you go ahead and do the exploration, and then if you need assistance, just raise your hand and I'll come help you, okay? But I want you to try to at least research one career field that you were interested in from the last time, okay? All right, ready, set, go. All right, come. You need help? You already searched it. What did you search? So what did you learn about? And then check this out. It tells you how much money you make. So the median means average. So most people in your job field make that much money. And then look, there's even a percentage between making $200,000 a year. And then, so it says people starting in this career, so you have a bachelor's degree with no work experience or on-the-job training, so you probably don't even need an internship. And then it tells you the degrees that you can get. So you can get a wildlife biology degree, marine science, and then check that out. So most people in the job field have a bachelor's. So the more degrees that you get, the more money you make.
You can get a lot of money for this job, just by one day.
And then it tells you what they know in this field, the subjects that they learn.
So you can get a lot of money just from one day.
What do you mean? In a year?
Oh.
Yeah. Yearly. Yeah. It is a lot of money.
So
yeah, that's a lot.
So 1 year later,
Yeah.
I'm rich. I'm rich. I'm choosing that. I'm choosing whatever. How do you put it in though?
Athletic. Someone that helps people. What was your backup plan? Yes. So you would put athletic training.
Oh, I can't spell America.
Yeah, you can watch the career videos that they have. It tells you more about that job. Not all of them come with one. So,
Help! I need somebody.
so like right here, the average person in this job makes $47,000 a year. Then there's people making 58, and there's others making 70,000 just for a trainer. And then, what's the degree that most people have?
How do you spell that testa?
More degrees equals more money. And then it says that let employers know your skill. Some states require an occupational license. So depending on the state, you might have to have a license for that. are you trying to search?
I'm trying to search for programmers, game programmers.
Okay, so video game designers, right?
Makes me type, like games for me. This is second. This is one of the.
How are y'all doing? I want to point something out that I forgot to point out.
I'm taking that job. If it's gonna turn rich, I'm gonna put that job and do this.
Because it didn't show. Oh, right here. Okay, everyone, look up here really fast. Sorry, I know you pause your videos really quick. So I want to explain to you how the salaries work. Okay, when they tell you how much that job, that career makes, they're telling you based on a yearly amount. Okay, so the median, however, tells you the middle, the average group of people that are in that career field make this amount of money. Average, not everybody, but most. So in this career field, $50,000 is the average salary that people are making. But then there's a group of people that are making $103,000, and then you have a group of people that are even making over $200,000 a year. Okay? Who is the one looking up the zoologist? Oh, yes. So, what's your name, hon? Remind me your name. Damien. Okay, so Damien was looking up, he wants to be a zoologist, right? And most people have a bachelor's degree, but then there are people who have master's and doctoral degrees, and there's also people in his field who make more money than $63,000, which is the average. There's a group of people that are making over $100,000. Do you think that the more degree or the more education you have, the more money you make?
Yeah.
So most of the time, yes. Most of the time, when you see that high percentage of, or that percentage of people that are making more than the average, a lot of times it's because they have a higher degree. Okay? So I want you to pay attention to that when you're looking at this job, because I hate to say it, but there are some people who their main reason of going into a specific career is because they want to make more money. That's fine. If that's what's going to make you happy, okay? I don't really know too many people who have told me that the money is all they need. But you got to remember, you're going to wake up to this job at least 20 to 30 years of your life. That's how long people typically go in a career before they retire, before they can just kind of go sit on a beach somewhere. My grandmother worked for the government. She retired at 32 years.
I'm doing that too.
She was almost to the top level in her job field. Pause it.
I'm doing that for
32 years. That's why I feel like this is so important, because you are going to spend most of your life working in this career field.
This is my backup job.
This is your backup, okay? And I think that's smart. Carlos, I don't know if I said this last time, but I heard you when I was walking and you were like, I really want to be in the NFL, but I also have a backup plan. That is the smartest thing I've ever heard a fifth grader say when it comes to these careers, because I've always had students tell me they want to go into a professional sport, and I'm not saying that you can't, but a professional sport requires your body to function. Many times, one game, one play, one this moment in that sport can break your something, and then you're done forever. So having a backup is definitely smart, especially going into something like that. Okay, I'm gonna give you like 3 more minutes, and then I want 3 people, if possible, to share out what they discovered about their job or career. Sorry. Okay, so there's
You're happy because
then I would type and see what I would
do it too?
Oh, it stood out. Okay, go get a bandage. Go get a bandage. Oh, you don't? Let me get you some tissue. You wanna get what? Art therapist?
I mean,
He's true. He's telling the truth. Like,
I'm not gonna do those teenagers. I'm gonna do
okay. Go ahead and, oh, you don't know. Okay. We are almost to our time where we have to stop. So if I could direct your attention back here in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Can I have 3 people? We'll start with one person. Volunteer and share their job field. Damien, since you had told me about it, I want you to share it. I want you to share it.
Mine is the same thing.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
A zoologist because they get to hold animals and figure out cures for diseases for them.
And what did you learn? What type of degree do you need?
A master's degree and a bachelor's degree.
Okay, so he has to go get his 4-year bachelor's, which it does. Do you think you have to do it in 4? Do you have to get a bachelor's degree in 4?
No.
No, some people get it in 3 years. My cousin did it in 3. Some people get it in 5 years, 6 years.
Is it possible to get in 1 year?
Don't know, probably. Because what happens is like you can actually take college courses in high school. So like my brother, when he started college, he actually came in as a sophomore in college, not a freshman, because he had so many credit hours when he started. So yes, it is possible, but he has to get a bachelor's and a master's degree. So that's another 2 years on average before he can actually really get into the job field. How much money do they make on average?
On average, it is
$63,000 1 year. Now tell me, what's the highest amount that someone's made in that career field?
$102,830.
Most people's goals in life is to make over $100,000 a year. And in that job field, he can do that. That's awesome. Okay, is there anything else you want to share about the job that you learned about, or career? Keep saying job.
And you would also need a doctor or professional.
It says that you could get a professional degree in it. Okay, so that's a doctorate degree. Okay, good. Good job. Thank you for sharing. You have the same one as him, right?
Yeah, but I have another one that I'm gonna do if I
If-
don't like the job.
Same way.
Okay, what's the other one?
It's video game designers.
Okay, and what kind of degree would you need for that? You have to have a degree.
Bachelor's
A
degree.
bachelor's degree, okay, and then do you need like any special training, or is there anything else you learned
No,
about it?
no on the job training.
No on the job training, so you could just get your degree and boop, walk right into that job. Awesome. Anybody else want to share? Taryn? Chimbuchi. Okay, and what is an art therapist? Because I don't even really know.
They usually work at like mental hospitals
Okay.
or with handicapped people,
Uh-huh.
so people with disabilities,
Uh-huh.
and they finally become an art that helps show, that helps. The art form helps express that person, that person's emotions or what they're going through.
And so you're helping them through art, is essentially. more than half of people in that field have a bachelor's degree. Half, more than half.
But I want to try and get a doctor.
A doctor or profession. Okay, that's good.
2%.
You be that 2%. Anybody else want to share before we stop? Alfredo, go ahead.
Maybe in orthopedics, you need a master's degree and no work experience.
And no work experience. And what is an orthopedic doctor?
They help people with bones.
With their bones? Okay, yes, that is correct. Do you have to have any special training for that job? Yes, what kind of training do you have to have? An occupational license, yes you do. Good job on the careers that you guys explored today. I really appreciate. Whoa, what did you choose? Oh, a psychologist. 50% of the people that are psychologists have a doctoral degree. So that's why I was like, whoa, what is that? Okay, but really great job. I really appreciate y'all. We will do one more, excuse me. We will do one more activity after this, and then we will be done with this. But what I need you to do is completely log off, close your Chromebook, and then I need you to go ahead and stack them on top of the Chromebook and line up at the door. Please push in your chairs as well. Okay. Let me set the timer. So we have 15 minutes left. Basically though, I want to continue our conversation about responding to people and what we need to do to handle reactions. Okay, so today we're not going to mention any names. We're not going to we can bring up situations, but we're going to keep names out of it. Okay, hold on. And then we also need to make sure that we're not sharing this information with other people, right? Because what happens in this room stays in this room. And the moment that I find out that information was shared, then what happens?
You get kicked out.
You get removed from the group, okay? This is supposed to be our sacred time. And it's our time to be honest and to be forward with our emotions, so we want to make sure we utilize that time that we have. Okay? Alright. Yes, Samantha, what were you going to say?
I got 2 new kitties. Well, we didn't buy them, but we actually saved them.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
One was in the like drown thingy where there was a bunch of water. This guy went to save the kitty and he had it in a home, and the other one was like, I don't remember what happened to it, but I think it was stuck on some other thing.
Mm-hmm.
So with the kitty, black kitty, we named it Midnight and Mittens. So Mittens came to my baker's sister, Lisbeth, and she picked it up, and I told her what I saw. I saw that person have 2 kitties and the one that I used to carry. And it was nighttime, so we went to knock, and then we came back with 2. It was like, oh, here's your kitty. And they were like, oh no, that isn't my kitty. We saved it. Here you go. Have 2 more kitties. And we were like, yes. Now we have 3. Luna, Midnight, Mittens.
Wow.
And Tommy, which is actually a bigger cat, so he's like half and half because he also goes to other places. Yeah. And we have 5 dogs. So.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of
pets.
animals are you have to really take care of them. Y'all want to share really quick? We do have time really quick to share one good thing that's maybe happened to you over the past week since the last time we met. Yes.
My sister came to visit from college.
Oh, what school does she go to again?
Texas State
Yes.
University.
And
My sister goes there too.
really? So you have an older sister too? And what? How many years? What year is this for her in college?
No clue.
You have no idea.
I think she's gonna come to visit this week or next week.
Oh, okay. This is her 3rd year.
She has 2 years in TCC.
Wow. So this is her 3rd year in college. Okay. So wow, yeah, she's almost done. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I hear Desiree always scream whenever she plays with her brothers or friends.
Oh, you live near each other?
Yeah, she's right next to me.
Oh.
I was like right here and she's right there.
Do you have any good news, ma'am?
Yes, you play with your friends, say everything, screaming out loud like wild.
You don't want to share? Okay, that's fine. Do you have anything, Charlene? No? Just was a basic week, right? Just kind of got through. Yeah, I feel you on that. Yes. Would you like to share? Sit laddie. No?
That's just a normal.
It was just a normal one. And sometimes we have our normal weeks. Sometimes we have our bad weeks. Like, I think this is the week that I'm being challenged because I'm like running on fumes of sleep. And I know you all don't know, but my son got sick this morning, so I was up at 3 o'clock this morning dealing with that. And I didn't go to bed till like 11 something, so I only got like 3.5 hours of sleep. So I'm really tired. But I'm still here. I didn't want to miss our lunch. Okay, so perfect. We got enough time to discuss what we're going to talk about today. Is it quick? Okay, what?
My mom's birthday was last night.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Did you do anything? What'd y'all do?
We had cake. We danced a little, and then we blew the big whistle, whatever it's called, and then woo! And my dad said, "Stop that!" He took it away from me, and then I tried to grab it and get it to him harder.
That sounds like you were celebrating a little too much, but it's okay. That's cool. Birthdays are fun. Okay, but before I start talking about this, I am going to bring something next week for everyone. And just off the top, how many people have ever used a diary before? Wow, really?
Yeah.
You've all used a diary. That is
Yes.
awesome. Who's using one right now?
Basically, I kind of write it, but then I crumble it up and throw it to the trash.
I don't bring mine to school.
Well, yeah, I
Some
wouldn't.
people bring them.
Yeah, I would not bring mine to school.
Mine
This one, I really actually don't want you to bring to school, okay? And it's not gonna be like a fancy journal with a locket and all that. It's just gonna be a journal, but I want you to take Wednesdays as your days to process what we talk about in group, okay? And I also want you to use it as an outlet. You know, 3 of you don't have me as a teacher. And the other 3 that do, we're so busy in class, you don't really have the time to talk to me like you maybe want to. And so I want you to use that journal as your communication tool whenever you have something on your mind, something happened at school, right? Because I want to talk about today specifically about reactions to people, okay? Sometimes people can communicate to us non-verbally, right? Sometimes people can communicate to us verbally, and even sometimes people can communicate to us physically. What is an example of a non-verbal communication? What do you think I mean by that?
And you're not speaking to each other, and
Yeah, I wouldn't eat that. I don't know what's going on with that banana. Yes, I agree. What did you say, Samantha? Say it again.
it was when they don't talk to each other,
Uh-huh.
but they talk in internet. Something like that.
Oh, well, yeah, when I say nonverbal, look at me like this. Nonverbal is like more of your actions or maybe a facial expression. Like, clearly, if you're talking to your friend and your friend's listening and they're like, listening, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, okay, they're totally listening. But then if you're talking to your friend and your friend's looking like this, you'd be like, okay, what's wrong with you? Like, why aren't you listening to me, right? So she communicated to you how she was feeling at that moment. Do you think you can hold it or no? Okay, I'll let you go. Like, we got like 7 minutes. So so there's ways that people communicate to us, but a lot of the problems that I see specifically in 5th grade is that whenever those people whenever those people communicate to us in a way that we do not like, a lot of times we react to that communication in a negative way. Who can give me an example of that? What do you think I'm talking about? Desert, go ahead. No, not who do I think, give me an example of what I'm talking about. Like, what is an example of reacting in a negative way?
Go off on somebody.
Yeah. If I could go off on every person, I may think I might feel a little bit better, but I also probably would not have a job right now. I probably would have gotten in trouble with the law. As an adult, I have to be mindful of my feelings. And don't get me wrong, there are people who upset me every day. I'm always like, something might happen, right? But the way that I the way that I react to those emotions, to the people that are communicating to me, it will make the world of a difference. So, for example, there was a teacher, this is a real story, there was a teacher, and this is not at this school, this is at my other school, and she was going through some stuff, but no one knew what she was going through. Nobody knew she had issues at home. But she was very quiet, and she also made a lot of facial expressions, and they weren't really pleasant ones either. They were sometimes like, just she would make these weird faces, and a lot of teachers started to take offense to that. And instead of asking her, why did you do that, or what was that face for, or just inquiring about why she does the things that she does, people just started to not like her, and they reacted to her nonverbal cues, her communication. It got to the point where I remember we were all at a staff meeting, okay, and people would talk about this teacher, people with this and that, people were just they're just being negative, right? And then no one took the time though to ask her what happened. I knew what happened, but most teachers did not, and I wasn't going to share it because she did not want anyone to know. Well, her husband was sick, and I remember that the day she told us that she was going back to the States because we were overseas, and it's because her husband had passed away. And she was truly devastated. Tears in her eyes when she's telling us, choking up. But I could see across the room, every teacher in that room completely felt horrible, right? For the way that they reacted to her. Because she may not have realized what she was doing, right? She may not have realized the faces. People took her quietness as being rude. Everything that she was doing, people took it as a negative way. They reacted to her negatively. And it created this atmosphere of, we don't want to be friends with this teacher. And it was really, she needed a friend, right? She was going through some really serious stuff. And so, coming back to a 5th grade world, okay, in the moment you may feel upset when someone does something. Maybe you're talking to your friend and they make a face, or you see someone looking at you and they make a face. Okay, or a good example, someone throws wood chips at you on the playground. You guys are laughing, but doesn't it happen?
Oh, yeah.
So, what should your reaction be to someone throwing wood chips at you? Should you just pick up some wood chips and throw it back?
No, it has to be play.
You should tell them to stop. What else could you do?
You should tell them, instead of doing that, we could play tag.
Instead of doing that, you can play tag. Okay, hey, I don't want to play that game, but do you want to play tag? Okay, that's a good one. What else could you have done? Yes?
You couldn't just stop. If you want to talk about something, you could.
You say that again, I'm not following. No, I didn't process in my head. Go ahead.
You could tell them to stop, and if you want to talk about something, you could tell them.
Right. Okay. Now, in the midst of every chaotic thing that's happened on the playground, and somebody just throws these wood chips at you, your first reaction is hey, right?
Yes.
Right? And you're gonna oh, why'd you do that? That's the reaction, because sometimes we don't think about how we should react. It's really hard to do it, I promise you. It's not an easy task, but it is doable, okay? And I want you though, I'll be giving you an example. Sometimes I feel like when I have a reaction to someone and I didn't say what I really wanted to say, I feel bothered by it. I'm like, man, I really wanted to say this instead of what I just said. This is where that journal's gonna come into play, okay? Sometimes we have to practice
before we put things into action. And so I want you, as many times as you can, because I know you guys have other lives and stuff, but especially on Wednesdays, I want you to take a situation that maybe you've seen, a situation that you were experiencing, and I want you to think about how did you react, and if you wanted to change that reaction. Because see, that's called thinking of our self-reflection, okay? Self-reflecting is when you think of how were you reacting or acting at a certain period of time or in a certain situation. And am I telling you that I expect you all to not react to certain people? Or let me rephrase that. Am I telling you that you should always react a certain way to certain people? No. You're gonna make mistakes. Sometimes you're gonna just lose it and you're like, oh, this is not my day, and then it's just gonna come out and then you're gonna be like, dang it, I'm sorry. Right? That happens. But I'm training you all in my lunch bunch groups because my hopes is that if people start to see, 5th graders start to see this group reacting differently to others, to their peers, they're gonna chime in. They're gonna do the same. I promise you. I've seen it work. There was this group that this school that I used to work at had, and they were a specialty group. And here's the thing. Hold on a second. There was nobody in the grade knew who was in that group. It was a secret. And they were trained by their school counselor, and then there was somebody else that they were trained by too. And they were trained on how to deal with certain situations. So what they did is they trained them, did everything they needed to do, and then they let them go hang out with their peers, right? So they got several weeks of training all at the same time. And I promise you, they said in 1 month, the problems that they had literally like zeroed out. Like they didn't have any issues. Because when their friends would see how they reacted to those situations, then other people were like, you know what, I'm gonna start doing that. Or I'm gonna start using those choice of words. And it just was a ripple effect. It only takes one person to make a change. One. And I truly believe that, especially some of you in here, because some of you are some big leaders, right? People will follow you no matter what you do. So you should be leading the way. Okay? So we're going to be working on how to react to nonverbals, verbals, stuff people are saying, because words hurt, right? We know that. Words, I don't care what anybody says, we are human beings, words hurt. And also too, physical things like someone throwing wood chips on you, right? So let's try to practice that today. And if you feel like what you said or what you did or your reaction did not help the situation, I want you to come tell me, because I will be outside. Got it?
Got it.
Okay, let's go. Thank you. You guys are awesome.